we have here a fascinating and uncommon mid-18th century young man's companion. It's worth pointing out here that the contents involve not just the standard like writing letters and arithmetic and bookkeeping, but there's also a compendium of geography. There's a section on the management of horses, but very interestingly, there's also a section on the art of painting and the coloring of maps. That's rarely seen on title pages of books. There's a spelling dictionary. It's by Thomas Wise, printed in Berwick, England, 1758. At the front is this folding map of the world, which is loose, like so. The front cover is all but detached. It's just held by the binding cord, but it is the original cover, so that's good news. And here's the map. It's interesting. Van Diemen's Land is shown as a partial outline, as is the entire eastern coast of New Holland or Australia, and is still attached to New Guinea there. So all throughout, the interior is still sewn and tight. There is, for instance, this little section here on writing and penmanship and so on. How to write letters is in here, and we get past this arithmetic section, and we come over next to bookkeeping. Then we get to this compendium of geography. And in this description of the world, there are imaginary parts of the world. There are real parts. There are the inhabitants, and there's description that follows. But what's interesting is once we get past this, this description of Africa here, I bet, is fascinating. And also of America. Oh, yes, that'd be very interesting. But as we get into England, it starts to be all of the market towns are noted around the country, as well as the days of the week that they meet. And so this is a very interesting intersection of geography and commerce here, where, that's quite an interesting meeting of the two themes. Here is horses, the section on horses, and here is a section on painting in oils, and evidently this is how you create them, and here's how you size and you gild, and here's the most colors that are most suitable, how to gild with gold, silver, directions for using oil paints, the whole art and mystery of coloring maps and other prints in watercolors. Yeah, very interesting. That's rarely seen, of the practice of coloring maps, directions on how to lay on mezzotint prints on glass. And now here we get into all the imports and exports from Great Britain to other nations. Here's a spelling dictionary at the end. There's no end paper, a blank end leaf, but the binding, the leather, is a little bit tooled in blind, like so. A very early paper label that's mostly lacking. The spine is chipped, and so on. The binding is in fairly poor shape, but it's a good candidate for a reback. And this fascinating book is available now online from me, Brian DeMambro.